So what I'd like to do is share some very brief kind of an overview to some extent and some very basic comments. There are people who for hundreds of years have been studying religion critically and applying scientific methods.
I'm going to be talking about cosmology, the Big Bang, and evolution.
I'm going to talk to y'all a little bit about being with people who don't necessarily agree with what you believe.
I'm going to be speaking to you tonight about kind of what my views are regarding the relationship between science and theology. Physics will tell you the properties of the atoms that make certain wavelengths of light be absorbed and others be reflected, and then the refraction through the glass is going to bend it with the angle and Snell's law and all these things. So science can tell you why, if you have a piece of glass, you're going to get yellow out the other side. But what science cannot tell you is, say, for instance, that this piece of yellow glass makes up this window that's in a cathedral outside of Paris that's been there since the 1200s.
What I'd like to help you understand tonight is that everyone performs science on some level.
What I'm going to talk about is there are two different kinds of research. There's applied research and basic research. And these two things kind of interact and depend on each other, and these end up having a lot of effects on you as a consumer. Painters don't, paint things just to, make them look good. There's something beyond that. There's something very human in why they do these things, and that's something that we should be proud of and that we should continue to support.
But I'd like to turn that question around and say, can we afford to not do science? Because I think it does have a number of benefits. This is a pretty bold claim by the guy who was president of the American Chemical Society last year, Bruce Burston. He says, science and engineering must be the engines of the innovation that assure our economic prosperity, our national security, our energy independence, and our responsible stewardship of our planet.
Tonight I'm going to talk a little bit about energy. This is the basic outline of what I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to spend a little bit talking about why we care about talking about energy and where it comes from now and kind of our current status. And then I'm going to say just a little bit about what I won't talk about. And then I'm going to talk about some things in the future.
I'm going to talk a little bit about how the government interacts with the energy sector and why it's important and why we should care.
Okay, I claim there is an energy crisis, and that's a difference of opinion. We are running out of petroleum. We have a lot of coal. It's still finite, but it will last hundreds of years. Coal has a heavy toll on the environment. I want to say something about the main thing that we can do right now, and that is, it's a myth to say that if you use less energy, that you have a lower quality of life.